All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Education Abroad. We're specifically talking about semesters. If you are here and want to know a little bit more about our short-term, summer, or winter term programming, we did have a presentation earlier today on that, and so that can be found on a different screen or a different link. That video should be posted to our website shortly. Today we're going to be talking about semesters. We do send about 2,000 students abroad every year, and about 40% of those are going on a semester-long study abroad experience. Yeah, pretty cool. So today you have myself, Kevin Fitzgerald. I work specifically with the exchanges, the co-sponsored programs, and the approved programs. And we also have Carrie. We'll go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Strader. I am the coordinator for the Luxembourg campus.
All right, cool.
So we're excited to talk to you today about options. Go ahead.
Awesome. So I'm just going to do a quick little overview of what some of our programs look like and how they're broken out. And then Carrie's going to tell us about the Luxembourg program. So what does it look like? Really, you have four major options. One is our Luxembourg program. About 100 to 140 students go on this program each semester. And amazingly, it's been the only semester-long program that's still running even during the current pandemic situation. A lot of other schools canceled programs, but we have been lucky enough to send students abroad. We have a newly created system that kind of is like a blend of old programming and new programming that we are calling co-sponsored. And we're going to get way more into depth about what those are. We have our traditional, which is like the classic way back when exchange, where you literally are exchanging with another student at a foreign institution. And then finally, we have approved. These are programs that are all over the world, and any student can do those, but you just can't take your Miami aid. But we're going to jump into what each four of these really mean, starting with our flagship MiamiOH.
All right. Yes. So if you hear the acronym MiamiOH, it stands for Miami University John E. Delaboy European Center, and that is located in Differdange, Luxembourg, which, if you don't know where Luxembourg is a tiny little country about the size of Rhode Island, and it's sandwiched in between Germany, Belgium, and France. Next slide, please, Kevin. Thank you. All right. So a wonderful thing about the campus in Luxembourg is that it's designed for students from all majors. We have courses that will go towards Miami plan requirements, and sometimes, depending on your major, you may be able to complete classes that also apply to your major and minor requirements. It's a really interesting mix academically. There are Ohio faculty who come over and teach classes in Luxembourg. And we also have local European professors that come in and have been teaching at MiamiOH for years and years. So there's a really great experience of getting to know different learning styles, but you are taking Miami classes at a Miami campus, but you just happen to be in Western Europe. So it is a facility. The facility is a castle. That's what you saw on the last slide, operated by Miami with full-time staff. And we also have, I'm support staff for kind of the preparation and lead up to the program. And then we have full-time on-site staff to help you. All the courses are taught in English. We do have upper level and intro, actually, French and German classes. Those are two of the many languages that are spoken in Luxembourg. Most of our students live with host families, so that is a really key part of the program. We have been in Luxembourg since 1968, and our students generally have great experiences with their host families. We do have a small number of apartments that we're starting to open up. That's kind of a new exciting pilot. Most students are still going to be with the host families, and if you have friends that you're going over with, you can request to live in the same home as them, or if you're both doing the apartments, possibly the apartments as well. The great thing about Luxembourg, it's really seamless as a Miami campus. Your tuition and fees are going to be comparable. Your tuition's exactly the same, and you pay Luxembourg fees instead of Oxford fees, and those end up costing about the same. So the main difference really is going to come from your out-of-pocket expenses, and you can use scholarships to help make up that difference. So we have many Luxembourg-specific scholarships that are given by our generous alumni, and it's kind of this big pool of money, and we automatically consider students for these scholarships as long as you kind of opt into part of that scholarship process. And some of them are need-based and some are merit, and a lot are both. So those are available, as well as other scholarships on campus. Semester is kind of our flagship in Luxembourg, but we also have a summer option, and you can also look into going for a year. We are also launching new cohorts. So this is really exciting. Each semester, we're going to offer kind of extra upper level classes. These departments are going to send over a faculty member. So next year we have political science, for example, is going to have a bunch of courses. We have a kinesiology one in the fall, sports leadership and management in the spring, possibly Farmer School of Business soon as well. So those are going to change every single semester and offer some cool, exciting major specific classes too.
Fantastic.
As I mentioned, it's a long-standing program with a great history at Miami. It's been there since 1968, so we just celebrated 50 years. There are lots of options, and really, if you plan it out well, you can knock out a ton of Miami Plan and possibly even major minor requirements. And we also have, that Miami bill, which is nice. So any Miami aid that you're already getting, financial aid, scholarships, that's going to apply automatically, in addition to the other scholarships that you can apply for.
And while we are specifically talking about semesters, Luxembourg program does have a summer option, which students can complete a thematic sequence. So some students are like, oh man, I really can't do a semester. Well, Luxembourg summer is still viable for you. Fantastic. And then this is just to highlight the location here, Carrie.
Yes, yeah. So that's Luxembourg City there on the right. That is called the Grund. It is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's very, very beautiful, kind of old city walls. That will be just around the corner, and it's a great location to explore Europe. And our students have been doing that safely and masked this year. It's been a very interesting year, but we're proud that we've been able to continue the program safely.
How far away are you from like Amsterdam and Paris?
Paris is really easy. It's about 2 hours on the train direct. And then Amsterdam's a little bit longer. I'd say probably 4 hours on the train, but still pretty doable. And then it's, 2 hours to Cologne, 2 hours to Brussels. Definitely some good locations.
Fantastic.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say this is just like another overview, but we'll get to that at the end. We'll kind of do another quick overview. So the other really important program for you guys to know about is our co-sponsored programs. What's really cool is our co-sponsored programs are not in competition with Lux, because nothing can be, but are in addition to. Say perhaps Luxembourg's not the right location for you. So the prime example would be like our listed here would be our program for the Russian language, our program in Sevilla because you are really looking for language acquisition, right? Or perhaps our program in Latin America. Other ones that are really calling out to students would be like our Prague or our Florence program, because there you are more in a heart of a different city, and perhaps it has classes being taught at that location that Luxembourg can't. Because Luxembourg is so specific and really trying to be accommodating to all Miami students who come there. It's really, their curriculum is not as large as some other locations, just because they're trying to do a lot for so many students. Where a location like in our Prague and Florence site, you are actually at a local university that teaches in English. So many students are able to find courses that they want there as well. So here in Miami, we're really just trying to provide those options for you. So what's really great about the co-sponsored programs is that you will be with other Miami students. How many, we're never really sure. So again, I believe our enrollment in Luxembourg is around 100 to 120 students, where the co-sponsored programs will be more around 5 to 10 students. But you will be on site with a provider, and many times there'll be 120 to 300 other North American students who will be studying there. The big unique thing that's really different from Luxembourg is that they are transfer credits. So here at Miami, we're very open to transferring credits from other institutions, incorporating them into your educational plan here. But you would need to work with your academic advisor, the chief departmental advisors of each of your departments that you're looking to do that with. But the nice thing is Miami is very accommodating in helping you do that. A lot of students will do, say, an elective, right? So with Luxembourg, for example, you can see courses have already been pre-approved. You know exactly how it's going to fit because you're not really transferring anything. You're just taking a Miami class in Luxembourg instead of on campus. Here, you would need to worry about the transfer, but what you'll see is like, say you're taking a history course. It will come back as a history T, and many times, say if you are a history major or minor, they'll say, oh, great, that will just fit within these categories of electives that you need for the history major or minor. Now, perhaps you want to use them for Miami plan. We do have a very clear process for how to get those courses approved and to fit into your new curriculum, to work for you. And like I mentioned earlier, there's a greater variety in courses and locations. Again, if you want to do language or culture, or perhaps your specific major doesn't have those courses in Lux and you want to try a different city. So what's unique about a co-sponsored program as opposed to any of the other ones, it's that that you pay Miami tuition and a fee that's clearly listed there, but you can still use your Miami scholarship, which is very awesome. Okay. And then our exchanges. So exchanges are a little bit different in that they are also a transfer credit, like we had just mentioned, but exchanges are a one-for-one exchange with another institution. So one of our very, very popular ones is the University of Glasgow. That's becoming increasingly more competitive because we're not getting students from Glasgow to come to the United States. Or, Glasgow has been wrapped up, I believe, in the whole Brexit situation. So some of their students are nervous about the kind of the uncertainty of their own future. So perhaps they're not looking to study abroad. But we are seeing now that Brexit has finally finalized that there is more interest coming in. So that's just one prime example. But we have amazing programs at the University of Sharjah. We have one at the University of Leicester, also in the UK. And then our most popular ones are in Japan. We have one at the Kansai Gaidai University. And actually, if you go for a whole year, you can get a degree. Pretty awesome. And then just like our co-sponsor, you pay Miami tuition fees, and you can use your Miami scholarships. And usually when we mean like Miami scholarships, we're talking about admissions scholarships. Those would be like the Red Hawk Excellence or Bridges or anything that you were granted to like, hey, come to Miami, where you would be like, okay, can this help in my study abroad experience? But with all these programs that we are mentioning with exchanges and co-sponsored, we do have additional scholarships also available just for studying abroad. So this is kind of like the little overview here of the 4 different programs that we just talked about. What we really didn't focus on is approved. That's just because it's kind of like the one that doesn't really fit the other ones, but we'll touch on that here. So with Luxembourg, it is a great Miami experience steeped in history. Carrie has mentioned it's 52 years in the making, which is pretty cool. And again, you pay Miami tuition and fees. Classes are Miami, so you don't have to worry about transfer credit. And what she was mentioning is with that deep, rich history in Luxembourg, we do have a lot of additional support there for students academically and financially. On the exchange, you really are a local student abroad. So that's what our students really find fascinating. One thing I really didn't dive into is our pool, our exchange pool called ICEP. And that one actually opens up the whole world. Some unique locations have been students studied abroad for a whole year in Botswana. They were a local student taking courses, able to do all the things that Southern Africa really bring to you. That student absolutely loved it. We had another student who was really into the French language and went to the Universidad or Université Réunion on it's a island off of Madagascar where they speak exclusively French and it's considered a French territory. And so she had to get a French visa and everything, but here she was in the Indian Ocean, right? So those very unique programs. But then also we have programs in Germany, throughout all of Europe, in the UK, that students really find fascinating. And co-sponsored programs are great for the student who perhaps has never studied abroad before and is looking for that location and the academics offered in that location. There will be strong support abroad. The students will directly enroll via the host provider, but you're paying Miami tuition and program fee. They will be transfer credits, so that's what my role is to help you make sure you know how those credits are going to work and how you can use them in the future. And then finally, we have approved. So we didn't really touch on approved, but approved programs are like Perhaps you have a friend at a different university and they have a campus kind of like our Luxembourg program. Like, sure, you can go on it, but unfortunately Miami Aid cannot go with you, but it still could be a good fit, perhaps because of the location, perhaps of the language, or perhaps the classes that will be offered there. So Miami is very accommodating and really wants you to study abroad. We usually have 2,000 students who study abroad each year. And really what is the right fit for you is what we're concerned about. So we'll walk you through all these options and make sure that you're very happy about the program that you have chosen. And we are here to help. So this is our website. You can definitely reach out to us if you have any questions. We do have an Instagram. We're doing Instagram lives all the time. We're posting things there. And you can always reach out to us via email. We're currently doing virtual advising appointments. Feel free to sign up for one of those. They are booked out 2 weeks at a rolling basis. So each day more are added 2 weeks out, or you can always email us if you need to meet with us sooner. Certainly, does anybody have any questions at this time or any comments? Very cool. Carrie, there's a question for you. How would Lux work on campus leadership?
Yeah, so are you referring to on campus in Luxembourg, or like missing out on, you know, something you're already involved in Oxford?
More of the latter with like Oxford leadership. For example, I'm in ASG now, and I'm highly considering going to Luxembourg next spring, but I want to be sure that like I don't lose connection with my like Oxford leadership positions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. I think it's definitely something that you should not don't not go to Lux because of that. I think there's definitely ways to make it work. Of course, you'll need, it depends on like your organization, you know, just kind of informing them that you're heading out. But I think part of the good thing with COVID, right, is that pretty much everything is accessible online. So I think our students more than ever have been able to stay involved and stuff back in Oxford. Obviously, like there's a certain line you don't want to be totally tied, and there's a time difference in things, but we do have students who take classes back in Oxford online, for example, and students can take up to one class online. So I think you could definitely make it work with a campus leadership position, whether that's like officially taking time off and, you know, coming back, or maybe just taking a little bit of a reduced load with your on-campus leadership. I do think studying abroad in general, just in terms of like professional development and leadership skills, is just a really great experience. And on campus at MUDEC, we actually do have a student group called the Student Faculty Council. So that is a student leadership group that really leads the way for the rest of the MUDEC students, serves as a liaison between the faculty and staff, plans events. They're really like the ASG for MUDEC. So I would definitely consider applying for that as well.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, I was wondering what students do on a typical basis, like in a non-COVID time after classes end each day.
That's a really great question. I think it totally depends. Of course, you know, it depends on if there's nice weather, you can hang out outside. The nice thing with Luxembourg is that there is free public transit. So if you wanted to, because I know some students, you know, will wrap up their day of classes at noon, sometimes it'll be 3 or 4. But Luxembourg City is only about a 30-minute train ride from where our campus is. And Luxembourg, I'm just obsessed with Luxembourg City. It's so nice. So personally, like, I think going there and exploring in the evenings would be great. There's museums and beautiful things to do there. Even in Differdange, where our campus is, you know, there's, you know, parks and places to hang out. I think our students also really like take ownership of the chateau, which is, you know, our campus. So down in the chateau, the cave is like the old wine cellar, and that's a student hangout area. And so the student faculty council will plan like movie nights, or last semester they did like a Mario Kart championship. You know, and so I think that's where a lot of really like that student life and mixing, again, safely with masks and things like that, happens. And, you know, sometimes we have cooking competitions, and just there's all kind of like student life and things that you would think of that happen, you know, on campus in Oxford, especially, you know, if you kind of take the effort to plan it and help cultivate that. That all happens in MUDEC, you know, kind of after hours as well. And there's lots of beautiful hiking as well. Our group has been planning a lot of hikes this semester, which I think is fun. So that's just an example.
And I'll take that question and expand it to the co-sponsored programs. So on co-sponsored programs, it will be a study center, which will be like a home base where you can go and have computer labs, be able to print things and also will be like a hangout spot for a lot of our students. And each of the providers for our co-sponsors also do programming like Carrie was mentioning, like they do in Lux, but they will be doing it in their locations specifically. And then on exchanges, usually at the host university, there is an international student group, which will be planning a whole bunch of events, more travel, or just like activities that are going on campus. So in any one of the locations that you choose to spend your semester, there will be a lot of involvement outside of the classroom. And that's really one of the reasons that you're signing up to go abroad in the first place, right? Is to have all the experiences. Any other questions? Well, thank you, Cameron. Appreciate the question there. And we're going to stop the video, and thank you all for attending today. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.